Weapons of the future. So most of these are mine, but I've borrowed some from other technologies. Power gloves. Electrically charged gloves that can disrupt people and chemical bonds as well as ionic bonds. For example, they break up crystal structures. Slicers, used by Sarah's exosuit. They resemble the flying design of the Martian rover. However, they are weapons. The spinning blades keep them flying while going through their targets. Various exosuits. Apoptosome design, spinning wheel of death. One that turns into a wheel and rolls into action needs stabilizing action. The mini version can roll out and attack enemy fire and be programmed to avoid friends by recognizing patterns. So the idea is that this wheel, robot wheel or whatever, will be rolled out onto the land from the sea or another type wheel. So the metal wheel rolls out, is stabilized by something, and then it starts killing a lot. Hence the term Wheel of Death. Ideally, you can program it to recognize patterns, so the exosuits would have a certain pattern on them, so that way they could be recognized as friendly versus hostile. And then there's the Martian rover. So this is supposed to be based off of the War of the Worlds, a Martian tripod that can turn into a saucer based on a frisbee design. The UFO uses gyroscopes and the frisbee technology to hover and move. And then it's complete with an EM disruptor, so electromagnetic disruptor. So in these, I believe in the book, I later say that they have, they can spin, so it's a tripod, so they can spin on one leg while the other two start slicing through everything. Some are complete with tractor beams, as you might call them. They are beams that can either pull inorganic matter or organic matter into their hull. So it just uses the attraction forces of organic chemistry and the attraction forces of inorganic chemistry. At least that's the theory. And then these can be outfitted with lasers. The simplest version is when you use the sun, you can concentrate it enough to make it into a high-powered beam that can cut through most things or set things afire. The other laser would be photon-based, which I might discuss later. Then there's the Martian Mini. This has tentacles and a person fits in it nicely. It's a little protection, but a bit more agile than the Martian rover. So the idea is that it kind of makes you look like Ursula, but it has a mask that and a face that kind of looks like Fallout 3 or what was that movie? Silent Hill, like when they're kind of going with the gas masks. It kind of looks like a cross between those two. Then there's the bipedal. The pilots sit in the chest and wear a helmet that can measure scalp brain waves, so short hair is better. This allows the pilot to move the exosuit and keep his hands free from other tasks, or keep his hands free for other tasks. So I have a reference of news.discovery.com, videos, discovery-news-biotechnology. Flying. This makes the Martian rover and makes it into a giant carrier for the exosuits and small aircraft. Consider the problem with most carriers is that they are defenseless. However, this one can transport the suits great distances and defend itself. So this is talking about the scorpion. That you'll see later in the book. Let's see. So it can transport itself and its cargo and defend itself. It can move many directions and is equipped with numerous cannons and anti-aircraft guns. The smaller version of it is more equipped for dogfights. It uses the apoptosome technology to recognize paint signatures to not fire on friendlies. Warships. Barracuda. Naval ship in an arch form that houses the UFO's stealth bomber. It has a stealth bomber shape to avoid radar. Also, the idea is that it skates atop of the water. So, again, similar to stealth bomber, there aren't any right angles, but you do have on each side a triangle that kind of grazes across the water. Think of like also like the bottom keel of certain boats. So instead of it being on the in the bottom of the ocean, it's on the top and just kind of skating across the top. And so it forms an arch over the water. And in that arch, the flying saucers, or the also known as the Martian rovers, can fly into this bay, this hangar that's above the water, but below the main hull of the Barracuda. The Barracuda, because of its low surface, of its low surface area that's touching water, it can go really fast. That's the idea. Let's see. Oh, then warship Scorpion, a massive exosuit that based slightly on the design of a scorpion. It has 8 legs with massive forward-facing cannons on the back, is massive railgun, 4 times larger than that of Matthew's railgun. It is mounted on a turret tail in the resting position. The railgun is over the dorsal side of the contraption. The sides are lined with positions for exosuits. I used to know a lot about science. It's been a while. Technology for the future. Energy. Capture storage. Lightning in a bottle. Treat it as plasma. Use glass as an insulator. Think of superconductors that are temperature sensitive. Distribution. Tesla coil. Create lightning storm to distribute to exosuits via an antenna of sorts. Teleportation versus beaming. The beam uses the principle that all carbon-based life can have certain magnetism based on its life signature. Teleportation is not yet portable enough, and it raises the question of memory. Neurons are complicated by how they make a connection. Miswiring of the neural extension could cause psychosis or memory loss, so beaming is adequate when there is time enough to do so. Biolasers. Cyborg laser cells. Mammalian cells altered to produce enough GFP inserted into a crystal that creates a laser. GFP being glowfluorescent something. Let me see. If it says green fluorescent protein. There we go. So the idea is you can alter a mammalian cell to produce green fluorescent protein, and then you insert that into a crystal to create a laser. So that's my idea of how you'd create a cyborg laser. And then genetic engineering babies. So it's basically Gattaca Unleashed. At the 8-cell stage after fertilization, we can analyze as many sperm egg matches as you like / can afford. So the idea is if you can tell the sex of a baby when they're embryos, then you should also be able to take out the DNA, copy it, put it back in to the embryo. And with the DNA you took out, you can read it and tell you what's going to go on. Or you can take DNA from the mom and the dad, the best DNA that you can, and splice them together. So you're just basically reading two parents' genome and then slicing out the bad parts and keeping the good parts. So there are actual weapons that my weapons are based off of. An electromagnetic railgun offers velocity previously unattainable in conventional weapon speeds that are incredibly powerful on their own. In fact, since the projectile doesn't have any explosive itself, it relies upon that kinetic energy does damage. At 11 a.m. today, in 2008, the Navy produced a 33 megajoule firing, more than 3 times the previous record set by the Navy in 2008. Oh, so this was in 2010. So before I go into all this, you can read more at www.foxnews.com, SCI Tech /2010/12/10/Navy-railgun-shoots-bullets-I as an indigo, XZZ17X, P as in Paul 0, FZLN. If we could get photons to act as a particle, could we turn this railgun into a taser and into a laser type gun? Let's see. So let's see. Electromagnetic railgun offers a velocity previously unattainable. So how does it work again? So I mean, in order to get a photon to act as a particle, you put it through a particle counter. So the idea, I guess, would be you have a bunch of particle counters. I mean, that's the photon wave particle duality. Let me see. So let's go back into the railgun. It bursts radially and it's hard to quantify, says Roger Ellis, electromagnetic railgun program manager with the Office of Naval Research. To convey a sense of just how much damage, Ellis told FoxNews.com that the big guns on the deck of a warship are measured by their muzzle energy in megajoules. A single megajoule is roughly equivalent to a 1-ton car traveling at 100 miles per hour. Multiply that by 33 and you get a picture of what would happen when such a weapon hits a target. So the railgun offers many advantages over conventional weapons. One thing, the railgun offers 2 to 3 times the velocity of a conventional big gun, so that it can hit its target within 6 minutes. By contrast, a guided cruise missile travels at subsonic speeds, meaning that the intended target could be gone by the time it reaches its destination. Furthermore, current U.S. Navy guns can only reach targets about 13 miles away. The railgun being tested today could reach an enemy 100 miles away. And with current GPS guidance, it could do so with pinpoint accuracy. The Navy hopes to eventually extend the range beyond 200 miles. So you'll see this railgun that Matthew's exosuit uses in a couple of chapters, and you'll understand why it's so powerful, especially if we can turn it into a photon beam instead. Sorry, I'm just reading over my article that I copied. So again, if you want more details, if it's still up there, you can reference that web page. If you don't have access to that web page, let me know in the comments and I can create a separate video because the railgun has a lot of information about it. Sound gun. Okay, so increasing the amplitude and compactness of sound waves into bullets that can penetrate water and target specific cells in the body, inducing death. The design is based on Newton's cradle, which features several identically sized metal balls suspended so that the balls barely touch each other. The toy-inspired study co-author Chira D'Arao, it's Chiara space D as in Delta Araio, to invent the acoustic lens, which uses 0.95 centimeter stainless steel spheres aligned in parallel chains. But instead of channeling motion, the new machine manipulates sound. A sound wave strikes the spheres at one end of the acoustic lens. The sound gets converted into a type of shock wave that is known as a solitary wave. The solitary wave propagates through the chains in the same way motion moves through the balls in Newton's cradle. But because the length of the chains the solitary wave exists, the solitary wave exits the last sphere as a sound wave instead of bouncing back through the chain. Converting the sound into a solitary wave is crucial because solitary waves are easier to control and Converting the sound into solitary wave is crucial because solitary waves are easier to control. So this is related to laser light bullets and a laser made to curve. So for example, by squeezing the balls in the chain closer together, a process called static precompression, scientists can adjust the solitary wave so that the emitted sound wave travels in particular directions at a given speed. The goal is to create an acoustic lens that could achieve very high focal intensities and at the same time be able to control the focal position without having to change the structure of the lens itself. Rapid fire sound bullets. By tweaking each chain of metal balls in the acoustic lens separately, a barrage of sound bullets can be made to converge into a single spot. We squeeze the outer chains of the lens more than the chain in the middle, and this causes the solitary wave to travel faster in the outer chains than in the inner ones, ultimately releasing successive sound bullets. In addition, changing certain parameters in the machine allows scientists to alter the intensity of the sound bullets. The emitted waves can be gentle enough to probe internal organs or power enough to serve as sonic scalps for cleaving off tumors. As an imaging tool, the acoustic lens beats ultrasound imaging because the sound pulses can be focused much more tightly and can be easily repositioned. You could have 3D images that are clearer and much more resolved. This is related to humans can learn to see with sound. But such applications are still way off, she said. The acoustic lens has not been tested on cells or living animals. The research is detailed in Week's issue of Journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. The article, if you want to look it up, is Sound Bullets to Zap Off Tumors, ? It's by National Geographic Daily News by Ker Than. Spelling is Ker space Than. It was on April 5th, 2010. The website is news.nationalgeographic.com/news/2010/04/100/405 sorry 04/100/405 sound bullets acoustic lens cancer ultrasound / So laser cannons, laser or light bullets that can curve through the air might someday help scientists monitor air pollution, a new study says. The bullets can create extremely short duration. The bullets are created by extremely short duration, high intensity laser pulses, said lead study author Pavel Polinkin. First name P as in Paul, A, V as in Victor, E, L. Last name P as in Paul, O, L, Y as in yellow, N as in November, K, I as in indigo, N as in November. A physicist at the University of Arizona. Let's see. Light Pillar Pictures, Mysterious Sky shows explained. Power of Light in National Geographic Magazine. Extreme global warming fix proposed. Fill the skies with sulfur. The pulses are so rapid that the pulses are so rapid. So this is, I think, still referring to the light bullets. The beam is broader than it is wide, creating what Bolinkin calls pancakes of light. But the use of complex lasers that can produce wave patterns called airy beams causes the brightest part of the beam to bend as the pancake of light speeds away. So again, this is trying to use laser cannons and causing them to bend. So I can read you the rest of the article if you would like. Leave me a note in the comment section. This was titled Laser Light Bullets Made to Curve National Geographic by Richard A. Levitt, April 9th, 2009. This is news.nationalgeographic.com/news/2009/04/09-light-bullets-curve.html. Then we have brain implants for too many things. Let's see. This article is... I have a couple articles. There's a lot of information. New Scientist says that the project is funded by U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency in Arlington, Virginia. Let's see. Uses electronic implants to monitor or control the movements or behavior of animals. So my idea of this is you could use the chip to monitor thoughts of the person, thus directing the exosuits, Martian rovers, and whatnot in certain directions. The idea could be that you could send off the poptozomes with one person controlling them from a distance, and they would act in unison. So I can go into this in more detail if you want me to. Leave it in the comment section. There is just kind of a large article that I would have to read, and it's a little technical. And I don't have like an HTML that you can see. Yeah, no. So yeah, leave me a comment if you want any extra info about weapons of the future. And I hope you like this potential look into the future. I hope you have a great day.